with the flow.
Can't forget about Coach Bergen. Of course. And if you don't got Coach Bergen, you ain't got shit.
What's up, Coach Bergen here, and welcome to the Coach Bergen Show, episode 56. Today's guest is LFA voice of the Octagon, Mike Kendall. So, Mike, you are welcome to the show. You are a ring announcer in MMA. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so I mean, I've been announcing MMA fights for probably about 18 years now. Started in Nebraska, where I lived most of my life. Now I currently live up in Spokane, Washington area. But yeah, started a while back and doing some local, entry level shows, had some pro-ams and stuff like that. And it snowballed over time. I mean, I could go into a million details, but, eventually leading to the RFA and LFA, where I know I do the bigger fights that I do, but I still maintain my presence in the circuit, of the lower, the local regional events. I wouldn't give them up for nothing, man. I love it at that level. I'll always be a part of that as long as I can. So yeah, that's about it in a nutshell.
All right, so what got you started with it initially? What piqued your interest?
Well, I mean, how much time you got?
We got time.
But I mean, I guess in my early life, I wanted to be a radio DJ, slash, well known and famous and make all sorts of money. As a kid, that's kind of what my dream was. Going into high school, it turned into, well, I have an opportunity to take classes in radio and TV broadcasting, and so I started with that. And was really prepared to, make a go of it, and lucky enough to be a part of it in a high school level. But the professor of that class kind of pulled me aside one day. He's like, Mike, I know you have all these dreams and aspirations of being, rich and famous on the radio, but to be honest with you, dude, the money's just not there unless you become syndicated like Howard Stern. Or any of those other bigger, syndicated radio shows back then. There's really no money in it. You'll eke out a living, and
Right. And he was really the only one doing it.
Right. I mean, yeah, back there, and then mid '90s. Holy smokes, aging myself there.
30 years ago. Oh my God.
That was, yeah, like you said, that was about all there was, So I mean, apart from your morning talk shows and stuff like that, it was just the kind of the fire kind of went out, and so I decided to keep with concrete work, which was not necessarily the best choice, but it's hard work, and I mean I still do it to this day, concrete, and but I ran into a guy that hired me for a season, and then I ended up staying for a while, that he sold fightwear clothes. And this is about the same time that my brother, Aaron Steele, was starting in MMA, fought an amateur fight with Extreme Challenge, who was ran by Monty Cox, that they kind of had the Midwest circuit kind of on lockdown back then. And he told me to come to one of his shows, and I came to one of his shows, and one of my brother's fights, and I was mesmerized. I was like, Big Papa Schnocky, dude, God rest his soul, was announcing those events, and I was just like, man, wouldn't it be cool if I could do something like this? Like, this is something that's here. It's right here. There, not necessarily would take over Schnocky's job, but like, I need to find a promoter that could give me a shot. I think I could do this. This is a great thing. And so a guy that I was working concrete for was in the fightwear business, Bill Henderson, a good friend of mine, dude, one of my one of my best friends for forever. He was selling disorderly conduct fightwear, and his partner was kind of managing some fighters at the time, train. And then I said, man, do you know this scene? Find somebody that will give me a shot. And so lo and behold, he found a promoter, Mark Marty Anderson, who was doing, I think it was called Midwest Cage Championships or something like that, trying to start that up. And it was, I was introduced to him, and he gave me a shot, man. He also ran a gym out of his house and was training the likes of Anthony Smith and a lot of those other guys, Brian Voodoo Dunn from, an old school fighter from back in the day, Jim Axtell. These are some old ass names, but I was able to start training. He's like, you can come be my announcer, but I want you to know what you're saying. I want you to understand this sport. I mean, it was a great kind of, a great moment, where, I was just like, wow, man, I'm about to be a part of something, pretty cool.
Okay.
So I went.
So you
I
weren't
went
really a big. Sorry, interrupting you.
No, go ahead.
So you weren't really a big fan of it before that. You were
Oh.
more so like just starting to get introduced to it around.
Well,
that
no,
time.
not necessarily. I mean, as a fan, I wasn't a diehard UFC fan. For one, I couldn't afford pay-per-views back then when I was a kid. It wasn't broadcast. It wasn't broadcasted on mainstream media in any way, shape, or form. I was catching DVDs. I'd go over to a buddy's house and we'd watch UFC 5, from a few years back, and all those other the UFCs up until that point. But what I was seeing was a lot of was the WEC was on Versus, I think, if I remember correctly. So I was a big WEC fan, dude. Like Doug Marshall, Razor Rob McCullough, dude. Like Carlos Condit, Uriah Faber.
Oh yeah, so many big names came from there. I forgot all of those people were in the WEC first.
Yeah, Miguel Torres. I mean,
oh yeah,
it was. It was as good. I mean, to me, obviously it didn't have like the hugest names, but watching it and seeing it at that time, dude, was, this is great. And it's on cable TV. So, it was great. Right. I was very much into it at that level. I definitely watched more WEC than I did UFC back then.
Because it was easier to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Joe Martinez, watching him announce those fights, dude, I was like, this dude, like, man, like, so I kind of put it together. I was like, dude, if I could do what Joe does on a local level, like, wouldn't that be something? So when I was given that shot to do that event, that very first event, I went and I watched all of the announcers that I love, have always loved seeing. Michael Buffer, of course. The Godfather, he's like the Godfather to me. But then you got Jimmy Lennon Jr., Joe Martinez. Those are my top three dudes. As far as influences and mentors, because I needed to find out how to do it. So I studied those guys. I took a little something from each one and put together what I thought would be my format for that first event. I did the first fight, and another promoter was there that did more regional stuff, Craig, and in Torment Cage Championships. Craig McIntosh was the name of that promoter. And he was there. He said, wow, dude, this is your very first event. You do really, really good. Come do my show too. So it just snowballed, man.
Awesome.
And it was a meant to be kind of moment. And that's how it all started.
Okay. So I want to just back up a little bit. I noticed when you were listing your influences, you said Michael Buffer, which, obviously he's the announcer for, boxing events and things like that. But you didn't mention Bruce Buffer, who is an MMA ring announcer, which is what you're doing. So don't you feel like his style would be better to follow, or what do you think?
This is where I love Bruce, man. I've gotten to speak with him a few times, met him, love the dude. The dude is the greatest showman in the sport, hands down. There's nobody that brings the kind of energy that he does. But I focus more on vocal stuff, and Bruce has his style, and it works for him. Obviously, it's worked for him. He's the best in the business in doing the biggest show. It just wasn't my style, my flavor. I didn't want to be a Bruce Buffer impersonator. You know what I'm saying? Okay. That's his thing. I needed to cultivate something that was my own. And I took from the more golden voices of Michael and the cadence from Jimmy Lennon Jr., the way in which he would say things, and then obviously Joe Martinez brings an inflection to his voice. That is, I mean, those three things that I just wanted to combine those, put my own flavor, what I thought, I wanted to sound like as a radio DJ, all those years ago, and came up with my own thing, and I think it stands alone, and I don't think anyone can really say that I'm impersonating anybody. I have my influences, but at the end of the day, I created something that I believe is my own, yeah. So I didn't want to be the next Bruce. I never want to be the next Bruce Buffer. I don't want to be the next Joe Martinez. I don't want to be the next Michael Buffer, nothing like that. I'm Mike Kendall, and I want to do what I do, how I like to do it, in the style in which I'll do it, and it won't change, dude. I mean, these dudes nowadays they go around wearing these disco ball jackets, man, and like I think they look like figure skaters, man. And I think
I can agree, yeah.
I think anybody that's seen any of my interviews knows that I don't shy away from saying that. I think it's silly, but I mean, to each their own,
Yeah, everybody's got their own.
It's just not my style.
Their own style that they want to fit, their own persona that they want to, put out there.
Mm-hmm.
So, what would you say has been your favorite event that you've done so far?
I get asked that a lot. Dude, nothing beats Sioux Falls, South Dakota, the Pentagon Arena, the Sanford Pentagon Arena up there. That's always kind of been like my Super Bowl kind of field show that we usually do in the spring every year. Unfortunately, I don't think it's on the books this year. But hopefully the schedule for the end of the year will come out and it'll be on there. But dude, Sioux Falls, South Dakota, that crowd, that audience, those people up there, bring a fire to an event. It just feeds my fire, dude. Like, it's such a great intimate venue, yet it seats like, I don't want to say 2,000 to 3,000. I'm not sure. I'm not.
Okay. All right.
Not versed on those numbers, but they're stacked, dude. And they got the suites up on top, and then it's kind of like it has that. Has that like D2 basketball arena feel to it. They do a lot of basketball events there, but dude, that venue, those people, like Sioux Falls, they're a rowdy crowd, dude. Some of them tailgate our events because they're so into it, dude. It's a fight town, and I love it there, man. It's one of my best, one of my favorites. Everywhere, every market that I do around the country, from New York to LA, they each got their own, unique, endearing qualities that I love. They all have their own flavor, but man, Sioux Falls is probably tops.
All right. So, what would you say has been the biggest event that you've done so far?
Biggest event,
like the most amount of people, biggest attendance.
It was actually not even an MMA event. If you want to go just event as an announcer,
yeah, sure.
I did a grassroots music festival in Omaha, Nebraska / Council Bluffs, Iowa, that had about 15,000 people in it. I emceed that, introed the bands, and gave love to the sponsors and stuff like that, and kind of emceed that event. That was crazy to stand on that stage and look out and see 15,000 people. That was pretty bananas. But dude, it's gonna be, I don't know, biggest. Well, I mean, we're right up there with, gosh, I mean, LFA and Sioux Falls, probably about, I want to say it was about 3,000. No one quote me on that. Don't do any research.
Yeah, no, of course.
Between that one and Victory Fighting Championships, when they opened up the Liberty First, the Ralston Arena at the time, it's like Liberty First Federal Credit Union Arena now, some ungodly long name. But
Taco
big
Bell,
VFC,
KFC, Pepsi, yeah.
So VFC, we were like headlining Ryan Jensen and Ryan Roberts and Houston Alexander, all local Omaha dudes, and I think they were all on that card. I mean, they sold it out plus standing room, I think, and that was so loud there. It was so loud, packed, not an empty seat, and I think those are a couple of the bigger ones as far as attendance wise goes, and ones I'll definitely always remember.
All right. Awesome. Um, so do you have any favorite fighters that you've announced for, or any favorite fighters' names that you like to announce?
You're trying to get me in trouble with
I am not
thousands of
trying to get you
dudes
in
right
trouble with anybody.
now.
I can even edit it out afterwards if you want to speak as freely as possible,
No,
and then afterwards be like,
no,
"Oh wait, I shouldn't have said this."
no,
Like,
no, dude. Don't edit
yeah,
nothing. Don't edit
okay.
nothing. It's a great question to ask, man. My favorite, favorite moments. Looking back now, Alex Pereira. He was probably. It was probably. I mean, it was a super fast 1 round knockout, and I've never heard anybody hit that hard before ever with a check hook. Um, but when he starts that, his opponent for the LFA, and then that catapulted his way into the UFC. Being a part of that, of announcing him, definitely a huge one for me. Um,
That's huge.
yeah,
You got to
man,
announce for Pereira. That's like he's a big
yeah,
star, big name.
yeah,
Like, wow,
yeah.
never seen that before.
You
That's a
know,
big event. That should be the first thing comes to mind. Alex Pereira, you know.
yeah. No, I
But
mean, but there's
yeah,
tons of
yeah.
other. There's tons of others. You know,
Okay,
uh,
so there's even bigger names. Awesome.
so like Mace, I got to announce. Um, gosh, I'm drawing a blank now. I don't know why. Brandon Moreno, Sugar Sean O'Malley, like those guys. Those are all big names, but
Okay.
I have had some relationships with some fighters that I've announced in their early amateur days,
Hmm.
and then and then in the LFA, when they're fighting for world championships, man, I got to talk about my boy, um, Big Toe Jones, dude. Uh, Jacoby is. I've known him for a very long time. Same with Grant Dawson. These are guys that when I see him at our events, when they're coaching or cornering, or when Jacoby's fighting at LFA, I always go. They give me a big hug. I give him a big hug back, man. And it's hey brother, how you doing? How's things been going? Um, I love those dudes. And they'll always hold a place in my heart because like Grant Dawson, I announced his and I think Jacoby's first amateur fights back in the Dynasty Combat and or slash Tournament Cage Championship days early in my career, and so now seeing them be successful, especially Grant, now he's ranked up there, in the lightweight division. I'm super super happy and super proud to have been a part of their early rise and watching these dudes go to the next level, dude. That's what it's all about, dude. That's why I love announcing for the LFA, dude, because I get to see them again. All these guys that have come up and they're
Yeah,
on their way
and
to the
who are
UFC, and
on
the
their
best
path
way to
further? Yeah.
get to the UFC is through the LFA. I think that's been proven hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times.
Yep,
Um,
I
we're
agree.
definitely the premier developmental league to the UFC. A lot of people are now starting to say that after they've
Yeah,
seen our press releases, and you know who
yeah.
you are. You know who you are out there,
LFA. I
people.
know. I had one fighter on the podcast, kind of semi-recentish, Artem Balak, who's the
Yeah,
135 LFA champion,
yeah.
and yeah, no, LFA is definitely it's not like just a regional promotion. It's like very legit. Like
Well, now it's
it's in the top three for sure, right?
well. Not only were we
Because
not only were we nationally, we're international. We
okay.
with doing 6 to 8 fights a year in Brazil, and then we opened up into Europe. Doing a fight in Tenerife, Spain last year. I mean, we're in 3 different continents. So, I
Oh
mean,
wow.
what other
Yeah.
developmental league or you
Yeah.
know you know America's show can say that? I
So
don't think there's anybody.
how I want to, without getting you into any trouble, how would you rank the promotions? Like, UFC is, the top one, obviously, and then, the rest of them combined equal like half of the, audience they have. But um, what would you say is the second biggest one? Would it be PFL or would it be LFA or would it be one?
Well, here's what you got to ask yourself, and I think I was talking with Mark Berry and Ed Suarez, our matchmaker and our CEO, about this very very issue when it comes to ranking a promotion. You know, which you have to ask yourself. You could say like who has the most viewership, or who has the most people in attendance. But what we would like to think of, and a lot of those numbers are ours as well. But if you look at what a promotion does to impact the sport,
Okay.
you know, LFA, I believe we're number two for a lot of reasons, because college football is the next best thing to the NFL, right?
Mm, right.
Or would you say Canadian Football League, or would you say Arena
Oh, I don't
Football?
know.
It's so
Yeah.
Arena Football and Canadian League are the dudes that don't quite have it to go to the uh, to the to the NFL, whereas college football is creating those number one draft picks and stuff like that, and all those guys. I believe, we are considered like the college football to the UFC. So, I mean, when you look at the hundreds of fighters, the last time we updated our video that plays before the events, I think it's like 350, but that number's grown as far as how many fighters we've sent to the UFC alone, and that number grows every month. Constant signings, constant signings. You know, um, uh, I don't know how many people are going to the UFC out of PFL. Sure that there's a number there. I don't know what it is. Along
I'm
with
sure it's a
one,
lot less now because they're not really doing that many events. Like, I don't think they've done any events this year yet, PFL. Um,
well, and then ask, and I'm not trying to hate or anything on the
yeah.
PFL, but what kind of an impact is that, on the sport? Whereas I don't even know how many we've done, dude. It, I do dozens. I've done dozens of fights already. It seems like this year alone, between the LFA and the other promotions that I work with. But I mean, impact. The UFC's roster. I think 35% of the active roster now is LFA veterans. Alumni that have fought for us. Which that's a big chunk, man. And
Oh, yeah.
we're proud of that, dude. So the one, obviously, that's the best thing for Asia, Southeast Asia, and I mean that's like their niche down there. I think in a lot of ways they are the LFA of Asia, I guess. I just don't
Okay.
know. I just don't know who they're sending to the
Because it's
UFC.
overseas, so it wouldn't really be like, okay, so I get what you're saying. Okay. So that's why LFA would be ranked higher than one because it's in America. So it just like is a natural next step to the UFC.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean,
Plus, it's out of Las
I think
Vegas too, right?
what's that?
It's out of Las Vegas too, right? For the
What
most
is
part, LFA is that out of
LFA?
Vegas?
We've definitely had our stays in our fights in the Vegas area. Uh, it's not every year that we're there, but we've
Okay.
been there. We've been there a handful of times. Our staff, our offices are located and based out of Vegas. That's because Mark
Okay,
Berry's there.
that's what I was thinking. Yeah. Okay.
Mark Berry, our matchmaker, is based out of there, and that's where all the fights get put together. So, you know, but whereas we have our CEOs out of LA, our presidents out of Denver, area. I'm out of Washington. We got we got
Okay.
the
Good thing we're
LFAs.
able to work remotely, right? You know?
Of course,
Yeah.
of course.
Not needing to go to an office, that would make it like very difficult for all of those same people to live the same life that they are now. And
Sure.
yeah. All right. So, um, where do you see your career going with this? Do you see yourself going to the UFC as well?
I mean, it's up to God, man. What? As far as I'm concerned, dude, I've reached a level that is surpasses multitudes of where I ever thought that I would go in my career. So, being a part of the LFA, if this is as far as I go, dude, I'm blessed. It's a dream come true every day. I'm happy where I'm at, dude. I mean, I don't, I would love to do some shows for the UFC. In any way, shape, or form. Um, but like, to go anywhere else in any other direction, I don't think would be a step up. I mean, the only place that there is to go, in my opinion, is the UFC. And I mean, there's with Joe there now, and Bruce, of course. I mean, they're in good hands with those guys. Um, so, dude, like this is I'm living the dream every year, and it keeps getting better. The LFA is growing and becoming something that I'm continually am proud to be a part of, and I'm willing to stick it out. And there would never be I would work for the UFC and not work for the LFA. So I mean, I'm LFA until I die, and that's this is as far as I go, man. I'm happy. Dude. I'm fortunate and blessed to be where I'm at.
All right. Awesome. I mean, it's definitely a huge accomplishment. The LFA, being getting to be the face of it, essentially, the voice of it.
Don't tell my bosses that. I'll take the
Yeah.
LFA voice of the Octagon, as Ron Kruk says, man.
All right. The
But
LFA voice of the Octagon. I like that. That is really great.
yeah,
Okay, cool. And so this is the app that I was telling you about earlier that I'm working on. Well, not working on. It's created, but like I fucked it up earlier, and when I was trying to add something in, and then it wasn't working on my iPhone, and I thought it was all iPhones. But then I like went and I found one of my old phones in my drawer, and then I like once I got that turned back on, I tried it out and it worked, and I was like, "Fuck!" So it's just the phone that I'm on, and then I found out it was just the part that I saved to the home screen, and that I could have still gone to the actual like web browser page and been fine, but I didn't think to do that. So I was like thinking I fucked the whole thing up, and I was like, I just gave all these people these codes, and now it's showing the website doesn't work when I go to it. So they're all gonna think I'm trying to scam them, and I'm like, I'm just trying to give them a free trial. That's it. But
yeah.
anyways, so it is called Fight Plan Pro, and it's designed to help MMA fighters with their fight plans. And it uses AI analysis based off of the opponent and the fighter, and it gives the fighter the best game plan that is going to give them the best odds of winning, and then
Well,
give them different suggestions with all these various things. But that's only a very small part of it. That was what it started with, and then it's become this whole like overall resource for fighters now, where there's also like there's also meal plans, there's workout plans, there's a daily checklist, there are just a lot of different things that I'm probably not even going to remember off the top of my head, to be honest. But
sounds
what
pretty
I've been,
intricate.
yeah, but what I've been using it for lately is I put into like I created kind of a group section called the community chat where you can have different groups for different things, and people can comment on in there, kind of like the group section of Facebook would work, similar to that, except its own thing. And so I put one in there that is set up for doing 1,000 push-ups daily, and so it gives me like a tracker where I can do like plus 50 or plus 100 or plus 20, whatever set I do. And then like there's a button I can tap to add it in. And then there's a pacing tracker that tells me how many I need to do per minute and per hour to get done by the time I want to finish by. And you can change the time you want to get done by. So, like, on days where I'm trying to get out of the house, earlier, then it might be like 4 or 5 o'clock that I try to get it done. But on a day like today, I can just kind of hang out. And so I might not get it done until about 11 o'clock. But
Oh,
um, so I can change how I want the pacing, to be, and then it'll tell me how many, per minute I need to do or per hour in order to to still accomplish it by that time. And that I think is like the most useful thing for me because I was in a habit of doing 1,000 a day and I'm just getting back into the habit of it. So like this is probably the third day in a row after 2, 3 weeks of not doing it at least. And so yeah, so that's been like very useful. And yeah, there's a lot of good stuff that's going to be going into it. There's going to be a sponsorship portal. There's going to be a booking portal. So, they'll be able to, potentially connect with sponsors, and then they'll be able to potentially connect with promoters to, get fights. And um, there's still a lot that needs to get figured out. So those things are kind of like on hold, but the core part of it is out now. It's ready. And then there's also what I call a coach chat where you can it's kind of like an AI chat where you can talk with it and it'll give you motivation or it'll give you feedback or it'll give you, coaching or, whatever. And it acts almost like a cornerman would and giving you feedback. But it's not designed to replace coaches. It's designed to help and add to what they're doing and to simplify it and make it easier. And then to be able to do the meal tracking, and then there's a weight cutting thing in there too.
mhm.
And what I just added in today, this was actually the thing that fucked it up. The thing I added in today was to help them gain weight while still training and fighting and putting on lean muscle and whatever,
Bulking.
bulking up, but not in a way where you're a bodybuilder,
Yeah.
bulking up for MMA, I guess.
Yeah.
So it was like as soon as I added that section in, that this shit just crashed. And
Yeah.
so I might actually have to add that back in. I haven't checked yet. But we'll see. Either way, it's gonna be there by the time people hear this, unless they're watching live. But yeah, so I got that going. And then a word from our sponsor, Coach's Cognitive Coffee. And so I got my own coffee made from based off of my character Coach, and it's from Montenero Coffee, and so those are available. Link will be in the bio, and yeah, but it's made to help with depression, anxiety, focus, and just
Does that
mental
have those?
clarity.
Does it have those that neurotropics in it, like the mushroom blends and stuff like that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
Oh,
mushroom.
hell yeah!
That's mushroom in it. And I haven't promoted it as a nootropic because I'm not 100% sure where it falls into that category, and I don't want to promote it as something it might not be. But I know
Sure.
it has some kind of mushroom in it, and I just know that when I was talking with the guy that runs this company, Montenero, I was like, originally we were going to create a Coach's Caramel Coffee. And then it was like, well, I don't know how to make the beans taste caramel without doing something to them. And
Yeah.
then we don't want to do that because that's not going to, it's not going to be good for, for them to be able to have it that way. And, so we ended up scrapping that idea, and he had sent me a couple samples, and one of them had mushroom, was a mushroom coffee, and I liked it, and I was like, what if we could make something like this that is for, clarity, mental focus, and, then we could still have the triple C, Coach's Cognitive Coffee, instead of caramel coffee. It's now cognitive. And then now I can sell it kind of like that and promote it like that as a, wake up and win. And so I'm also tying it in with Only Fighters, and I'm going to add it in as like a giveaway type of thing for certain challenges and whatever that I'm going to be putting in there. Um, but did I just call it Only Fighters? Fight Plan Pro. Only Fighters is what I was creating like 2, 3 years ago, and I have it on my coffee mug actually. Um, and then that idea didn't work out because I had hired somebody to create the app for me, and he created me something that didn't work. And then, so it was
You
like,
want something done right, you got to do it yourself, right, Matt?
exactly. And so I spent like $10,000, $15,000 to get him to create something that did not work. And then this that I have now is like more time consuming for sure. And I needed to learn more, but at the same time, it was significantly less. Like I would say I don't even want to put a cost out there because I know if I put a cost out there, other people are gonna be like, "Oh, I can create this myself." But
Yeah.
let's say it was definitely under 10,000 though. It was definitely under 10,000, which I'm happy about because it's so much more functional than what I didn't have before, since what I kind of had before, and even then I didn't know how to do any of the back end stuff that I would have needed to know how to do,
Sure.
and so it's much better that I figured it out this way, and I originally when I was doing Only Fighters, it was going to be a social media platform for fighters. And then it was going to do all of this other stuff that it's kind of doing now. But I just kind of reprioritized what it did. And Artem actually kind of is the one I took the idea from with this adaptation to it because he had talked about using ChatGPT for his game plan. And so before I did the podcast with him, I had the idea, what if I could create an app that does exactly what he's using GPT for? And then now that's a more valuable resource than what I had before.
Well, I
And
mean,
then
it,
yeah,
it sounds like a great thing that you've created. I know, not only will, could this be a resource for guys that are established and obviously have kind of an analog already way of doing all of these things and aspects and stuff, you can always point out where, they might be missing something. But I know for a fact, dude, that there's a lot of these entry level guys and these amateurs and these early pro guys that don't have the resources that these guys who fight at big gyms have. Where it can even the playing field out for these guys a lot. A lot of these guys, they don't have a lot of support, at their home gyms, and some of them train independently. We all know how that goes, So it sounds like, in theory, to me, just because I'm just now becoming aware of it, this would be a good thing for these cats that don't have a lot of resources available to them, in their community.
absolutely. And it's designed to be an overall resource, but like it's also meant, to help with the game plan and to make that, you know, I guess the primary focus behind it. But whatever people want to utilize it for, that's on them. I just want it to be useful to them and something that they will be using on a regular basis as opposed to just like when they have a fight coming up. I want
Sure.
it something that benefits them every day. And so I also have like, and this is going to sound like a cryptocurrency, and it will be eventually, but right now it's just numbers on a screen. I call it Coach Coin, and so with different ways that you use the app, you'll get rewarded with Coach Coin, and so like 6 times a day you can get Coach Coin for logging in, and then when you post in the community chat, you also get Coach Coin. And then there's like login streaks, and you do the push-ups, you get reward for that as well. There's just like a lot of things, but that's what's going to unlock the sponsorship and booking portals, as well as it's going to be redeemable for my coffee, because I needed to have the sponsorship and booking portals being something that are only for the people that are actually using it, and not just people that are taking a 30-day free trial and then like just going straight to that and then getting all these fights and then like deciding to cancel after the trial. Like, I want them to experience the full app before just like going straight to that, so they can see all of the benefits as well. And then also I want to reward consistency and people getting in early as well. And so yeah, there's a lot going on in it, but it's
Yeah,
coming along.
that'd be awesome. I'm gonna have to check it out.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I'll give you a code if you want to check it out.
Good.
Um, and send you the link. But do you have any other stories that you want to share?
Oh no, I mean something kind of interesting that just developed for me just recently. Mike Goodwin messaged me, and he's the promoter for Caged Aggression in the Quad Series area. They do fights in Davenport, Iowa. I went to one of their fights after hearing about it for forever. It being kind of close proximity to where I lived in Omaha. Um, but Pat Miletich was doing his final MMA fight against some doesn't matter who he was.
Yeah,
Um,
not Pat
guy, but
Miletich.
but yeah, I went and saw his last fight there, and I was impressed by that promotion, and I got to meet the promoter. I was like, hey man, if you ever need a fill in, let me know. He's like, I'm pretty happy with my guy. He's loyal. He's been around for he's done every one of our events for like 16 years. I was like, cool. If ever he can't make it, if ever he can't make an event due to unfortunate circumstance, just keep me in mind, man. I'd love to do it. Well, that happened. And he called me, less than 2 weeks out and asked if I'm available. And luckily, usually my March schedule is pretty full. I do have the final weekend available, but he needed a fill in. So I'm going to do Caged Aggression event. And you know how they always do it. They do a 2-night, sometimes even a 3-night back to back to back. But this one's just back to back event. So super excited for that, dude. It's been they got great promotion, great production, great atmosphere there in Davenport as well. That's a fight town for sure. As Pat Miletich came up from that area, and all those guys from Miletich Fighting Systems. So super excited for that next week. So like anybody that's likes to pay-per-view some pretty cool stuff, Caged Aggression next week, 27th and the 28th. That's one you might want to watch, and so I'm super excited for that. But the schedule that going forward in this year, dude, I'm super excited for. It's going to be a busy year. Looking to do a fight back in my hometown in Austin, Texas, where I'm originally from. So pretty excited for that as well. But just if you're watching the LFA, you see what's going on in the sport, and I'm just proud to be a part of that. So that's you watch the LFA, you watching what's next in the UFC, virtually. So just keep on watching the LFA, I guess.
Absolutely, absolutely. LFA is where it's at. All right. So I was just thinking in my head that next time that you come on the show, we should do some kind of countdown of like, and we can vary this later, but like top 5 moments that impacted your career as an announcer or something like that. The 5 moments that had the biggest impact on your career, and then maybe stories
Giving me homework, Matt.
you know. Um, but yeah, we'll have you back if you
Oh
want.
yeah, man. I'd be glad to come back, man. It's been a great show. Thanks, man.
Awesome, awesome. Thanks for joining today. I appreciate you making the time, and I'll let you know when I got this uploaded.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Enjoy
God
the
bless.
rest of your day. Thank
You as well, man. Thank you.
All right, bye.
No guessing, no fear when the cage door slams. Every move mapped out, that's a fight plan. Round by round, we don't wing it, man. Train smart, fight clean, that's a fight plan. Camp clock ticking, sweat on the floor. Data on the tablet, not a prayer anymore. We know where you win, we know where you fall. So we don't chase knockouts, we collect rounds all. Distance control, don't bite on the bait. If he blitzes early, let him gas, let him break. No ego in the pocket, no pride in the fire. We survive, then we rise, then we drown as desire. When the lights get loud and the mind gets tight, this ain't improv, this is chess in a fight. No guessing, no fear when the cage door slams. Every move mapped out, that's a fight plan. Round by round, we don't wing it, man. Train smart, fight clean, that's a fight plan. If this happens, do this. If that fails, reset. Win the round, then the fight. No vibes, no hope, just facts in hands. Pressure with purpose, that's a fight plan. Walk out calm, walk out the man. Smart beats tough, that's a fight plan. Digital corner, real results. Fight plan.
5 a.m. glow, city still sleeping. Mind already running, I'm 10 moves deep in. Game plan mapped out, vision HD. No brain fog here, that's not me. Steam rising slow from the cup in my hand. Ideas light up like I drew up the plan. Every rep counts, every thought sharp. Fuel for the grind and the creative spark. This ain't just caffeine in a cup, this that clarity when it's crunch time. What's up? When the pressure hits, I don't panic, I see the whole board clear in front of me. Go, go, go! Coach's cognitive coffee, money roll coffee, that's the key. Stay locked in, stay focused, stay ready, mind steady, vision heavy. Coach's cognitive coffee, money roll coffee, fueling me when the stakes get high and the lights get bright. I'm sharp all day, I'm locked all night. Podcast mic on, headphones tight. Big ideas coming left and right. No hesitation, no delay. Clear decisions every day. From the chessboard moves to the business plays. From the gym floor grind to the long work days. It's mental edge in every sip. Confidence steady, no slip. You can feel a shift when it kicks in clean. Tunnel vision, but the picture's seen. Not hype, just clarity. Built for longevity. Coach's cognitive coffee, money roll coffee, that's the key. Stay locked in, stay focused, stay ready, mind steady, vision heavy. Coach's cognitive coffee, money roll coffee, fueling me. Sharp thoughts, long game, no fog in sight. Root for the win every night. Coma is just a comma in your life. Trust and believe everything will be alright, be alright. You ain't done yet, you just paused mid-fall in your life. Trust and believe everything will be alright, be alright. You ain't done yet, you just paused mid-fall. Trust and believe everything will be alright. You ain't done yet, you just paused mid-fall.
my side. Didn't know that in the moment I'd be fighting for my life. Felt the world start spinning, colors all fade to white. Next thing I knew, I was falling out of sight. Heard voices in the darkness saying, coach, hold tight. But the fear in Queen Jeezy had me wanting to fight. Dreams turn to storms when you can't stand the bright. But every storm breaks when you step into the light. A coma is just a comma in your life. Trust and believe everything will be alright. Be alright. You ain't done yet, you just pause mid-fight. Trust and believe everything will be alright. You ain't done yet, you just pause mid-fight. In the hospital bed, trying to piece back time. Maya told me, breathe, one step you'll climb. Truth lying, drop facts while the monitors chime. Said your brain hit a wall, but your hope still shines. Juji made jokes when the nights felt long. Panda read stories, keeping my heart strong. Hilarious hood pulled pranks, but he meant no wrong. And Stamps hustled salts when the pressure felt on. Every dream I battled was a lesson in disguise. Every fall just a setup for a stronger rise. When Queen JC cried, man, it opened my eyes. I ain't quitting on my people, ain't no goodbye. A coma is just a comma in your life. Trust and believe everything will be alright. Be alright. You ain't done yet, you just pause mid-fight. Trust and believe everything will be alright. You ain't done yet, you just pause mid-fight. He's good. He's more than good. He's still winning. A setback ain't a sentence. It's just a pause in the paragraph. I woke up with a vision and a fire in my chest. Every scar I carry is a reason I'm blessed. Life hit hard, but I hit back twice. Yeah, I'm alright.
Thank you to my sponsor, Coma Dreams. A coma is just a comma in your life. Tonight proved that you pause, you breathe, and you finish the sentence. We did that, we finished
You
it.
looked unstoppable out there.
I didn't quit. Coma Dreams prove comebacks are real. Thank you, coach. I told y'all, no matter how deep it gets, wake up and fight.
Coma Dreams stayed with me. They reminded me not to take any day for granted. Just being healthy, training, and showing up is something to be thankful for.
I didn't expect this, but Coma Dreams actually hit me. Watching Coach go through that made me realize how fragile life is and why you don't waste your shot. This isn't a movie, it's life. It is what it is.
You know, I didn't expect to get hit this hard by a film, but Coma Dreams just wrecked me in the best way. The way it showed someone fighting their way back, step by step, it felt honest, like rolling here on the mats.
All right, I watched Coma Dreams, and I'm going to tell you, Coach's recovery, that was truly inspiring. That's a story worth watching.
I've chased titles my whole life. Coma Dreams reminded me the real prize is waking up and getting another chance. I'm grateful. Thank you, Coach.
I've been knocked down more times than I can count. Coma Dreams reminded me, you never quit, you keep standing back up. Shout out to Coma Dreams. A coma is just a comma in your life. We finished the sentence and we finished the fight. Thank you, Coach.
Congratulations on the win. What's the message tonight?
Train by day, Coma Dreams by night, all day.